Hi, I'm Matt Dicken, and this is Strategic Wealth. Here's what's coming up on today's show.
Would you say that there are any similarities today to that time period?
A little bit about why it's so important to get consistent returns with your investment vehicles. We're really not big fans of variable annuities. That's just a little bit of what you're going to see right now. Well, welcome once again. Thank you for tuning in. This week, as usual, we have a lot of great information we're going to bring to you. We're going to take a look at what we've discussed on the radio show in the past. I'm going to do some educating on the whiteboard once again, and I want to get started with this week's Money Minute. This week's Money Minute is going to be a little bit different. We have a couple of major accomplishments that we celebrated earlier this year, and we wanted to share some of that information with you here today. I had a couple of friends whose fathers both worked at the same company doing what I understood to be basically the same job, and when I would go to one of the houses, it seemed like they argued about money a lot. They were always fighting about money. If the car broke down, they really didn't have any money to pay to get it fixed. The other friend was the complete opposite of that. They never talked about money. And I asked my parents, I said, what's going on here? What's the difference? And they tell me, well, Matt, one family probably budgets and plans and saves, and then the other family just spends everything, so when an emergency comes up, there's no money left over. And I said, well, I've got an idea to help the family that doesn't budget, plan, and save. What I told them I was going to do was start a company, and when they get their paychecks, what they could actually do is send their checks to my company. I would pay all of their bills for them, put a little money in savings, and then I would pay them an allowance, because that's what I was used to getting. My parents looked at me and they said, well, Matt, we don't really think anybody's going to turn their money over to an 11 or a 12-year-old, but they said that what you're talking about sounds a lot like what a financial planner would do for someone. I made the decision that, okay, well then that's what I want to do when I grow up. That's something that was instilled in me at a very early age.
Most people were taught you don't talk about your finances. You don't do that. You don't talk about it. You should be able to take care of it on your own. It's okay to need help.
Individuals are concerned, will their retirement nest egg last as long as they need it to? The economy is changing rapidly. Things are different today than what they were 15, 20, or 30 years ago. So you can't use the same strategy and think that they're going to work as well today.
Our clients have worked so hard throughout the course of their lives to accumulate the assets that they do have.
People have questions. They want answers, and there are so many different routes that you can go today.
One of the things that we're really good at doing is solving the problem, repositioning their assets to where they will have guaranteed income for life, and putting them really in a much better position than what they were when we first met them.
Numerous studies that have shown over the years that the vast majority of individuals, when they go into retirement, will actually go into retirement without having enough money to maintain their standard of living and make it to their life expectancy.
There are a lot of good advisors that are out there that will help you accumulate your retirement nest egg. But you really need different strategies. Once you stop accumulating your nest egg and start distributing your nest egg to generate income.
Matt's vision's always been quite simple. Security, protecting your assets, and getting a reasonable rate of return. It may sound like old hat because you've heard it so many times, but people need to hear it. They need to know that they have that sort of option.
We want to move you from a maybe environment into a guaranteed environment because you do have a choice. What we've actually experienced in years where the stock market goes down in values, we have a lot of clients that call us and thank us because they don't have to worry about losing 10 or 15 or 20% of more of their retirement assets. Mark, I meet with individuals all the time that are close or into retirement. They're just carrying way too much risk in their portfolio. I really enjoy being able to take someone that's just not really sure if they can retire yet or not, or maybe they're already retired and they're just not really sure if the money's going to last as long as they need it to. And I like being able to take them through our process and hopefully at the end be able to share with them and educate them and prove to them that they don't really have anything to worry about.
There's no better way for us to continue to get our message out to our clients than to have them watch our show on TV.
You can't have your money in a safer position, but still see it grow at a reasonable return.
Have them listen to the radio.
Good morning, Kentuckiana, and welcome back to the Matt Dicken Show.
And to make them feel better about the decisions that they've made, because because essentially we preach the same message over and over and over.
I think it makes people more comfortable with walking in the door and knowing exactly who he is before they even meet him.
Good afternoon, Strategic Wealth Designers. Marcy speaking. How may I direct your call?
We have a really good team. Everybody is very cohesive.
When the clients first walk into the office, they're really kind of taken back by our lobby. I think it really helps them feel at home.
Those folks that come in here, they've lived life right. They're looking for an ethical person to handle their money. And I think once you get to know Matt and meet him, he's just like he is on the TV or the radio, very approachable, extremely smart.
Personally, Matt is a lot of fun. He is always in an upbeat mood, so even if you are not in such a great mood, he can pull you out of that mood and make your day so much brighter and better.
And really something that comes off, I think, immediately when you meet Matt is the passion that he has for the job, for what he's doing. You know, he loves coming to work, he loves what he does, and really that rubs off on us. We all really put a lot of effort, a lot of energy into making sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible. The main reason that Matt started doing this is just simply to help people out, and that's absolutely the most satisfying aspect of the job, is just to make sure that at the end of the day when people leave our office, they're in a better situation than when they came in.
What we like to try and do is take the maybes out of the equation. The majority of our clients prefer to have guarantees and certainties that they won't run out of money before they run out of life.
Let's protect your assets. Let's keep it simple.
We help retirees and pre-retirees protect and preserve their retirement nest eggs so they can provide guaranteed income that will last them the rest of their lives. Well, I hope everybody really enjoyed that. And once again, we want to thank everybody for coming out and making it such a special day for all of us. Now, right after the break, we're going to move on to X's and O's with me, Coach Matt, so stick around.
You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television. Come see Matt live and discover what millions of safety-conscious Americans are doing now to protect and preserve their assets and make up for market losses. Will recent legislation changes affect your retirement? Can you safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation? Can you find growth and security without risk in today's volatile market? Due to overwhelming demand for these events and very limited seating, we recommend that you call today, 855-MATT-DICKEN. That's 855-MATT-DICKEN, or go to AskMattDicken.com. You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television.
All right, this week I want to talk a little bit about why it's so important to get consistent returns with your investment vehicles. A lot of times individuals will ask me, Matt, why is it that with your firm you focus and you talk about so much about why it's so important to never lose money? And it's because consistent returns over the long run will really help you succeed a lot better than having a lot of wild gyrations due to the stock market and other things going on in the economy. So let me walk through an example of that. You know, a lot of times people think if they have an investment that goes down in 50% one year and then up by 50% the following year, they're back to even. And unfortunately, we wish it would work that way, but it really doesn't. Let's say we start out with $100,000 and we lose 50% in value. Well, then of course that means that we have just $50,000 after that loss. Now, if we earn 50% because the market rallies and rebounds and it grows, well, it's not 50% of the original 100,000 because we lost it. So we get 50% of 50,000. So of course, after 2 years, we would be sitting at $75,000. So the market went down by 50% and then rallied and recovered. It got back to even. It grew by 50% the following year, but your money is not back to even. What you need when you lose 50% is you need a 100% return just to get back to even. And of course, that typically takes many, many years. This is why when you lose money in the stock market, it will take you on average about 7 years just to get back to even. It's actually taken as long as 18 years in order for individuals to recover from a stock market loss. So consistency really counts. And I'm going to go through another example of this. I'm going to go through a really generic example, so you're going to have to stay with me. But I'm actually going to show you how a 10% average rate of return can actually outperform a 25% average rate of return. I know a lot of people, when I say that, are probably thinking, how in the world is that possible? And I'm going to show you why. Okay, so again, let's start out with $100,000. Okay, we're going to look at two different types of investors. So we've got $100,000 over here, and we've got $100,000 over here. Okay, now the first investor we're going to talk about, let's say that they want to be really aggressive with their money. Or maybe they're behind in their retirement planning for whatever reason, and they think they need to be really aggressive. And let's say that they go out the first year and they hit a home run. They take a lot of risk, and it works out for them, because sometimes that does work. And let's say in this example, they get a 100% return in 1 year. So obviously they double their money. Their $100,000 now is worth $200,000. So, you know, I don't know, maybe they picked the right IPO, or maybe this could have happened 10 or 15 years ago during the technology boom. So it works that first year. So the second year they say, well, that felt pretty good. Let's do that again. Let's be really aggressive. Let's try and hit a home run. And let's say the second year doesn't work out so well. So they end up losing 50%. So again, during our financial crisis, we saw the stock market drop by 50% or more. So your $200,000 is now only worth $100,000, okay, due to the volatility. Now let's take a look at this other investor, and let's say that they say, you know what, I want to be more consistent with my returns, and I don't want to hit a whole lot of home runs, but if I can get a few singles and doubles here or there, I'll be happy with that. So let's say the first year they go out and they do that, and they get a 10% return. Okay, so obviously their $100,000 is now worth $110,000. Now, a lot of times what will happen is if this investor talks to that investor and sees what their returns were, they're not going to feel so good about their 10%. They're going to wonder, hey, what happened? But as long as they understand that retirement planning really is a marathon, it's not a sprint, it's a very long time period that you need to have consistent returns. So let's say that they say, okay, well, I would have liked to have doubled my money, but again, I don't want to be overly aggressive, so I'm going to try the same strategy the second year and see what happens there. And let's assume that the same strategy returns a 10% return. Okay, so of course at the end of 2 years, they've got $121,000. Here's the really interesting thing about this example. If we go back and we take a look at what the average rate of return is on this particular account, well, obviously it's 10%. You know, you get 10% every year, so that's an average of 10%. But the interesting thing about this particular investment over here, or this column, is if you take a look at the average rate of return, there are some investments that will actually display that that is an average return of 25% over that 2-year period. Some mutual funds will do this when they talk about what their average rate of returns are. And this is why individuals will sometimes look at their statements, and then they'll look at, you know, a marketing brochure or something of that nature, and they'll say, well, you know, I haven't really made any money, but they're telling me that I'm averaging 25%. Well, over the 2-year period, that's actually what its average rate of return is. But obviously, you would rather have the $121,000. So even though the average rate of return was lower, you actually ended up with more money. And this is why it's so important to have consistency with your money. Basically, what we're talking about here is the old analogy that we had when we were growing up of the tortoise and the hare. It's really the consistency that will do better than having wild gyrations. Now, we can make this column look even worse because obviously we're assuming that this particular column doesn't have any investment fees. That can make the difference even greater over time. This is also assuming that after 1 year we didn't have to pay any taxes. You know, when you make a lot of money in the stock market, unless that money is in a tax-deferred or tax-free account, you've got to pay tax on all of your gains or all of your growth potentially, but then when you lose money, you're limited on taking those losses on your tax return. So there's a lot of things that can make the example even worse, but what I wanted to do is walk you through that example because it's a really good indication as to why it is so important to get consistent returns. It's not the wild roller coaster ride that helps you succeed, it's the predictable consistency that will help you succeed, because we talked about earlier how hard it is to make up for a loss when you lose money in the market. It's better to have not lost the money in the first place.
You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television. Come see Matt live and discover what millions of safety-conscious Americans are doing now to protect and preserve their assets and make up for market losses. Will recent legislation changes affect your retirement? Can you safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation? Can you find growth and security without risk in today's volatile market? Due to overwhelming demand for these events and very limited seating, we recommend that you call today, 855-MATT-DICKEN, that's 855-MATT-DICKEN, or go to AskMattDicken.com. You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television. You know, Matt, we never have a show that goes by where we don't talk about a very specific report that you do in your office. Now, people do have to come in. This isn't one, well, I always like to tell our listeners, this isn't something that we can just directly send out to you, but it is called the Strategic Wealth Report. And it does for a lot of people, this is a fascinating eye-opener as to what they're paying in fees and other things. Matt, tell our folks about the Strategic Wealth Report.
Yeah, this is probably one of my most favorite things to discuss, because this is a report that we've been doing for years now. I think at this point we've probably done several thousand of them for individuals throughout the community. And what it is it's a report where you can find out exactly what the fees and expenses are that you're paying on all of your investments. I get that question all the time. Individuals will say, I know I'm paying something, but I just don't know what it is. So what we can do is run the report and figure out exactly what the percentage is that they're paying and what the dollar amount is that they're paying. And we put it together in a summary page that's very simple and easy to read. You know, when we run these reports, we could do 80 pages of analysis with charts and graphs. Most people don't want to see that. So we basically have a one-page consolidated report where individuals can see exactly how much they're paying and how much they're losing each year to fees and expenses. Now, a lot of times when we run these particular reports for individuals, they're absolutely shocked to see what they will reveal. Because more often than not, individuals are paying fees that are much, much higher than what they originally thought. They might be paying fees that are higher than what their advisor had even told them. Because sometimes it depends on how you ask the question will determine what they tell you as far as what the fees are. So we'll meet with individuals all the time that think that they're probably paying around 1%. That's a pretty common percentage that individuals think that they're paying. But we run these reports, we'll see sometimes they're paying 3, 4, 5, in some cases more than 6% per year when you add all the fees together.
You know, Matt, and is there some way that I get my statements, either my monthly or my quarterly, that I can calculate this myself?
You can try and do it. It would be very difficult. The thing that we share with individuals all the time is if you have money, say specifically in mutual funds, you've been told how much you're paying in fees. Okay, they've told you. They've done everything they needed to do to disclose it to you, because the way that they get to disclose it to you is when they mail that new prospectus. You know, when they sent that out to you to your mailbox, you know.
Oh, I read it cover to cover.
Yeah, you read it cover
several
to cover,
times
right?
during the year.
Yeah,
I mean, I just
absolutely.
love that read.
Yeah, now obviously we know most people don't do that. And even if you did do it, they don't make it easy. You know, what these companies will do is sometimes they'll put one of the fees on page 12, and then you go a little further back to page 49, you'll find another fee, and then another one on page 67 or something of that nature. So you've got to go through the entire prospectus and add all of these different fees together and add it up. That's really difficult for most people to do on their own, so that's why we created the Strategic Wealth Report.
You know, man, I've heard you tell me, too, in working with some clients, that they really felt like their advisor didn't really know the fee structure, that they knew a part of it and told them accurately what part of it was, but in fact, they didn't let them know of the entire amount of fees that are on their respective accounts. And let's go one step further, Matt. Why is that important?
Yeah, well,
why is it important to figure that out?
Well, it's incredibly important to find out exactly what you're paying in fees, because over a 10, 15, 20-year retirement, that can mean the difference between success and failure. You know, there's an enormous difference between having an account with a 1% fee versus an account with a 4 or a 5% fee. You know, if you're paying 4% per year in fees, which is not uncommon, that means that over a 10-year period, you could lose 40% of your account value just to fees. Now, if we had an environment where the stock market was going crazy every year, going up in value like it did in the 90s, the fees weren't as big of a deal. But in today's environment, these fees are acting like an anchor. I meet with individuals all the time, and they'll say, Matt, I've had this account for years, and I haven't made any money on it. I don't understand why. A lot of times we'll run the report and we'll find out that the fees were so high, it would be almost impossible in this environment for them to have any real growth. So a lot of advisors just don't realize that there are a lot of different hidden fees and expenses on various accounts. And I'm not really defending them. They should know what the fees are, especially if they're out there giving advice and recommending these products to their clients. But a lot of times they just don't realize how high the fees are. They'll know about 1 or 2 of them, but they don't realize in some cases that there might be another 1 or 2 or 3 fees that are being deducted as well.
You know, Matt, I think a lot of people feel that, well, every financial product or service or firm has some sort of fee attached. There's no way to escape those fees. Is that the truth? Is that right?
Well, that's something that I hear very often, Mark. So you're right. In most circumstances, there's going to be some sort of a fee. However, there are alternatives out there where rather than agreeing to paying a lot of fees each year, maybe you make what we call a time commitment So if you agree to a certain number of years before you're going to withdraw all of your money from the account, then there's no need to pay fees.
Kind of like a CD.
Well, a CD or maybe a fixed or an index annuity, possibly a bond. You know, there's different alternatives out there that don't have ongoing fees and expenses. You make a time commitment, you'll pay a penalty if you take money out early, but you know, along the way, you don't have to pay any fees if you make a time commitment in some situations. Now, if you're going to pay a fee, you need to know what it is up front. And I don't think it should be hidden. You should know exactly what it is up front so you can then make an informed decision. Is it something that you think is reasonable or something that you think is unreasonable? And when we start talking about reasonable amounts of fees, I mention all the time, individuals probably wouldn't mind paying some expenses if they're getting good results for that. But I'll meet with
wait a minute, Matt. You only pay those fees when the company makes you money, right?
Well, no, they deduct them every single year.
So if I lose money, I still get charged that 2, 3,
Yeah, you pay it whether they make you money or lose you money.
Mm.
Now, to put that into perspective, let's say, you know, someone has, you know, several $100,000 in an investment account. Maybe they're paying 2, 3, 4, 5% per year in fees. We run strategic wealth reports all the time where individuals are paying $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 per year in fees.
Wow. What's the largest one you've ever seen? Just out of curiosity.
I think the largest one was about $100,000 a year. Yeah. About $100,000 a year is what this one particular individual was paying in fees. And the thing that's interesting is he had paid it for years. Of course, he had less money in his account than what he started with. So he had lost money, but the advisor on the account was making an enormous amount of money.
Let me ask you this. Okay, I'm interested. You've pointed out to me that there is perhaps the possibility with my accounts that may not have necessarily done well in the last 5 or 10 years. How do I go about getting a strategic wealth report done?
Well, you can get a report a couple of different ways. One, you can call the office and set an appointment. We would need your statements so we can take a look at what all the different fees are, Mark. When I review account statements for individuals, we'll typically find things like management fees, account fees, inactivity fees, low balance fees, advisory fees. You know, sometimes it's as if these companies have come up with a fee and expense for everything that they can think of. So we'll need to take a look at your statements. We'll have a conversation with you, and then we're probably going to have to do some research and get back together with you again. Now, if you're really curious what you're paying in fees, there's another way that you can get one of these reports, and that is just contact our office and then either email or fax your statements in. And then we'll set a time to get together and go over it. That's a faster way of doing it, but some individuals are just more comfortable, physically bringing them into the office. We're happy to provide it either way, but we will need to set an appointment to get together and go over it with you. It's not something we can just mail out to you. You're going to need somebody to go over it with you to explain what it means.
Folks, stick around. We got a lot of great stuff to come. You're listening to The Matt Dicken Show, where safe money is smart money. Come see Matt live and discover what millions of safety-conscious Americans are doing now to protect and preserve their assets and make up for market losses. Will recent legislation changes affect your retirement? Can you safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation? Can you find growth and security without risk in today's volatile market? Due to overwhelming demand for these events and very limited seating, we recommend that you call today, 855-MATT-DICKEN. That's 855-MATT-DICKEN, or go to AskMattDicken.com. You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television.
Well, those that follow us here on the show know that we're really not big fans of variable annuities. Sometimes they can have a time and a place, but I'm just not a big fan of them because more often than not, they're going to have excessive fees, and there's quite a bit of risk tied up typically in a variable annuity. I think there's other alternatives that, depending on your situation, could be better. I typically don't like to talk about specific companies here on the show. I typically like to keep it pretty general. But there's something that's come up that I need to address with you here this week. If you have a variable annuity with either AXA Equitable or Transamerica, if you haven't already, you're more than likely going to be receiving a letter in the mail talking about the fact that they would like to change the structure of those accounts. And they're going to give you an offer to just go ahead and take all of your money out of the account right now and walk away. You know, with a variable annuity, typically you sign up for a certain number of years. If you're in that surrender charge period, what they're going to be offering you is kind of like a get out of jail card, so you can take your money and move it someplace else. And what is causing this is these variable annuities have certain types of guarantees that the companies have decided that they no longer want to honor. And they want to just give you your money and have you invest it someplace else. Now, you don't have to take your money out of the contract, but it might be in your best interest to go ahead and do that. What's happening on these accounts is they've decided they're too costly, they can't make money on them, and they prefer to just give you your money and have you go somewhere else. If you decide not to do that and leave your money there, more than likely what will happen is you will see your fees increase from what might already be a pretty expensive environment. Because every variable annuity contract, if you were to read it, you'll have what's called a current fee structure and a guaranteed fee structure, and the guaranteed fee structure is always higher than the current structure. So if they've asked you to leave and you decide not to go, well then what they probably will do is increase your fees on you to kind of force you out the door. Your returns may be even worse than what they've been in the past, and eventually you'll get to the point and say, you know what, I've had it, I've just got to move my money someplace else. So you definitely need to sit down and talk to a professional about this. More than likely, if you had an advisor that recommended these accounts to you in the first place, they're getting the letters as well and they're going to call you. Now when you go in and meet with them, if they recommend that you take the money out of these variable annuities and just move it to another variable annuity with maybe another company, well then I think what you definitely need to do is get a second opinion. This is an area where we could potentially help you. There are better low-cost options, in my opinion, than moving the money from one variable annuity environment to another variable annuity environment. So again, specifically with AXA Equitable and Transamerica, if you haven't already received these letters, you're going to be getting them. And even if you have a variable annuity with another carrier, what other carriers are going to do is take a look and see how successful these two companies are in getting individuals to move their money out. If they see that it was profitable for these companies to make this offer, well then other variable annuities will probably follow along as well. But specifically right now we have these two companies. If you have an account with one of these two companies and you need to talk to somebody about their options, well then we're here to help. There are better low-cost alternatives that will have less risk than these variable annuity accounts. So that's our show for this week. Thank you once again for tuning in. And I have to give a very special thank you one last time to everybody that made it out to our grand reopening / 10-year anniversary celebration. And before we go here today, I have to give a very special thank you to my wife, Colleen. She made it out to the event that day. She was not feeling good at all, but she came out and made the day extra special for all of us. So thank you, Colleen. And until we see you here again next time, remember, retirement planning is a journey, not a destination. I'll see you next time.
Come see Matt live and discover what millions of safety-conscious Americans are doing now to protect and preserve their assets and make up for market losses. Will recent legislation changes affect your retirement? Can you safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation? Can you find growth and security without risk in today's volatile market? Due to overwhelming demand for these events and very limited seating, we recommend that you call today, 855-MATT-DICKEN. That's 855-MATT-DICKEN, or go to AskMattDicken.com.